Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for coming back again. We are kicking on from last week. It's been a really good week, isn't it? Let's be honest, the podcast just seems to grow and grow, and everything else seems to grow and grow. I am just riding this crest of a wave. I don't know when it's going to end, but I damn sure am not stopping until it does. We are fully into year 2 of the challenge now. And you know I talk about this a lot, that I never actually saw how this thing was going to go, because I wrote down on paper, yes, this is how I expect the money to be, and this is how I expect the numbers to be. But I never actually thought about the day-to-day of living in it. In my head, I had this sort of warped idea that I would have VAs and a warehouse and a system and process in place at this point where I can step back and think, you know what? I don't need to worry about sourcing so much anymore. I don't need to worry about business strategy. That was wrong, by the way. That was wrong. Don't just assume that when you know what you're doing in one particular field, you know what's coming next. That's really not true. We really are making it up as we go along. And there doesn't seem to be an element in time where I can see this not being true. I think I'm going to be making it up forever. But so far it's worked. And so far I've got enough faith in whatever being there is out there that if I carry on going this way, looking out for opportunities as they come and taking them as they come, it can't go wrong. With that in mind, I think we're still a little bit early to tell you about the things that are going on in my business, but the first year was all about putting building blocks in place. In hindsight, I thought I was progressing because my numbers were doing so, but that's not the case. I was putting strategy in place for building blocks. And when I talk about the first year as learning, and the second year as earning, that's not necessarily true either. Because I know for the next 2-3 months I'm going to be learning an awful lot, but the money is certainly going to go up. Because the building blocks that I put in place in year 1 are really bearing fruit now. And the business has taken a massive leap forward in terms of trajectory, in terms of the scope that we can grow within. And then all of a sudden, the 10 grand a month, 15 grand a month, 20 grand a month, those numbers, all of a sudden, they are in perspective, in the distance. And if I take my income streams and I break up and I say, right, let's say, for example, Amazon will get me X amount, this podcast will get me X amount, my TikTok channel will get me X amount. Eventually we get to a point where we're talking thousands and thousands and thousands. It's scary. It's scary. Because it's all well and good to talk about that side of things and not then talk about the imposter syndrome that I face every day. And for those that don't know about the imposter syndrome, I can guarantee it affects you more than you realise, even though you might not know it's a thing. Because it's that voice. The imposter syndrome is that voice in your head. Despite all of the evidence, all of the skills I've developed, all of the abilities that I've got, it's that voice that tells me you can't do it. You are out of your depth. There is no way you're good enough with money to grow a successful business. We've got years and years of you starting projects and never following through on them. You can't handle all this hard work for too long. You're going to burn out. You don't belong here. It's all going to come crashing down. You're going to be back where you always were because this is who you are. It hammers me. It hammers me. Especially as I'm learning every day, new steps every day that I have never trodden before. But in this podcast, through meeting these people, in growing this network, I'm finding out that all of the successful sellers all face this and they've all had to overcome it. I still haven't convinced myself yet. I am well over a year in. I'm still struggling to convince myself that I am a business owner. I've got 3 businesses, but my brain hasn't figured that out yet. Despite everything that's happened to me, I still feel I'm the same guy. I've met a big Amazon seller a little while ago for a cup of tea, and he referred to me as a creator. I mean, let's be honest, that whole phrase, the creator phrase, is shocking. I mean, which narcissist created that, right? It's all a bit dramatic for me. But the phrase creator, it freaked me out because I often feel like a fraud. And I'm worrying that one day I'm going to be exposed as inadequate, unqualified. my day job, a lot of people in my building, in my day job, they still don't know that I do anything like this. And I was collared by a friend that had heard the rumour that I had. And I found myself playing everything down, just laughing it all off. Yeah, you know me, worth a go with it. It will all come crashing down soon, I'm sure of it. And I walked away from that conversation and I was fuming with myself because I simply slipped into a lane without even thinking and almost tried to sabotage what it is I'm done. Why didn't I just pat myself on the back and say, you know what, this is what I'm doing. I've got a podcast that's in the top 100 in the world. Why didn't I do that? Because when this thing eats into you, as it invariably does, you start thinking about your own decision making and you start procrastinating then because because of self-doubt and fear of failure start to kick in. And then when you procrastinate, you find yourself just sitting on TikTok and an hour's gone by and you're scrolling and you look up and you've watched 5 episodes of Friends that you've seen 100 times. And it's self-sabotaging and the cycle kicks in where you then just don't do anything, your business doesn't grow. All of a sudden your stress levels and your anxiety levels increase. And then that real danger of you going, you know what, let's just knock it all on the head. That kicks in. Fortunately, I've talked about this before, I recognise it now. I allow myself to wallow from time to time, but then I kick on. But it's really important that I explain to you this challenge. Because when people say to me, what are your challenges in the Amazon selling? I will always come back to this imposter syndrome. And I consider myself somebody that's got relatively strong mental health. I've been very lucky in the down times that I've had in my life. And when you're 40 odd, you will have had some extreme down times in your life. I've been lucky enough that I've recognised it and I've gone to therapy. And I've talked it out. And I've done better for it. But I still consider myself someone who's got relatively strong mental health. But there is that voice that just keeps telling you, maybe this isn't for you. That I will have to overcome for years and years and years. And I have put steps in place to have help in that as I go through these challenges because I knew this about me. That's also really important. It's all well and good writing down your strengths, but you also need to write down your weaknesses because your weaknesses may try and challenge your strengths at some point through this transition of you as a successful person from where you were to where you are. This has got much deeper than I ever thought it'd be, but I think it's really important because it is all true. It's all pouring off me, to be honest with you. So I knew at some point that this imposter syndrome would kick in. I knew that in a family where we've all followed the steps that society would tell us, I'm the youngest in the family, but I would have to branch out and do something radically different. And if it's a success, then it's worked. But it's really easy just to go, you know what, I tried, it's not worth it. I'll just carry on back into everything that my friends and everything that my family are doing. So I've put steps in place. And I can't talk too much about this yet because it is still too early. And as soon as I will, I promise you I'll share everything that I've got going on. However, I speak to people that I know can help combat my imposter syndrome. Now, the reason I'm telling you that this week is because I've been inspired by what Luke has told me during the course of our interview. And I think it's really important to share the internal struggles that you can have as a growing entrepreneur. So with that in mind, let's get back into the interview. Let's find out what's going on with Luke, and I'll see you on the other side. Cheers. What sort of challenges do you face regularly that you've got to overcome to stick the course?
Yeah, I don't really speak about this really. It's not something that I've really talked about. I've suffered with panic attacks, very severe anxiety from an early age, and it's something that I'm battling every single day. And you'd never ever think that of me because I hide it really well, but
Yeah.
I'm someone that really overthinks things. With me, it's something that sparks a panic attack. So the other day I had one. It's the first one I had for like a few months, and I was on a plane touching down to Dubai, and it touched the floor, and then they had to go back up. For me, that's a spark, and it ignited a panic attack. Luckily, I'm very good at sort of overcoming them now. But yeah, something that I deal with, and anxiety for me is a real thing. and we need to normalize men, especially talking about them, because there's not enough people that will openly accept and admit that they have anxiety or they have any sort of disorder or panic attacks, because unfortunately, the people that don't talk about it are the people that do something silly. And I
Yeah.
think that needs to get eradicated. And I think men especially need to stop getting embarrassed and about what they have. And I am gonna start bringing it in now, because it is a massive challenge in my life to try and overcome on a daily basis. But no one would ever think that. Everyone thinks I'm this happy-go-lucky guy on camera, but I have got my demons, and they're something that I'm in an ongoing fight for. Like I speak to a therapist on a weekly basis, a bi-weekly basis. But it's something that I'm good at hiding, and but I think times, is enough now. I think it needs to be talked about. And that's one of the reasons why, not a shameless plug here, that I'm bringing out a podcast. And it's going to be called Panic. And I'm going to talk about it thoroughly and deeply, about all the experience that I've had in panic attacks. And I've got health anxiety as well, hypochondria. Um, and do you know what it is? And it's made me realize over the last 3 weeks when I've been away, I can't do solo traveling anymore,
Oh,
because it I've got too much time on my hands to think about things. I need
yeah.
to be in an environment that when I'm home, I never get them. If I'm close to my family, or if do you know what it is, right? And it's the security of being at home. And if anything ever happened, I would feel more comfortable me having something in the UK than I would in any other country that don't speak your language.
Yeah.
And that for me brings on panic attacks. But when I was in Thailand for 6 months, I was fine. I was great because I was around people all the time. I was traveling with people and meeting
Yeah.
people. When I was away the last time, it's been really, really difficult. It's been like I've been there and it's too fucking hot to even walk around in Dubai and Qatar. So I've been there in my room thinking about things, and I just spiral sometimes. And um, it's just not a nice place to be in. So I've decided that it's time for Luke to get a significant other, I think, and then I can start traveling again if I want to. But I think I've done enough of it now. I've done the last 5 years, I've been away probably 60, 70% of the year, if not more. I think it's time for me to progress my business in the UK and really try and get a hold of this, get a hold
Yeah.
of my mental health, get a hold of my panic attacks, get a hold of my health anxiety, get as much help as I can, and really hit this podcast hard, because it's probably going to be like therapy to me every week, and it's going
Yeah.
to help me. But not only helping me, it'll help people understand it and normalize it a little bit more. And hopefully, it'll be um, people will listen to it and think, do you know what? I've got that. I've got that. I'm going to reach out to Luke and I'm going to speak about that, and I'm going to get it off my chest, because I know that's eating me away. And there's nothing worse than holding stuff like that in, because it will eat you up
It
and you
will.
will spiral.
You'll
And that is
explode.
the worst place to be in. And I think I don't know underlying, and we're still trying to work the underlying issues, what they are. I think it's from my teenage years, early 20s, partying and stuff like that. I don't need to go
Yeah.
into stuff like that, but it's probably come from that, and just overthinking things. But anyone that's listening to this now, that it you got similarities to anything that I've said, just start speaking about it to people, to your loved ones, or get a therapist, or reach out to me and speak to me about it, because it's a lonely, lonely place sometimes. And the first step is admitting it, and then it's your recovery. And I'm still in the long road of my recovery. Like every day is different. Every day is challenging. But I know, me being in the UK now, I can really probably progress on it a little bit more. I need similarities. I need I need my loved ones around me and stuff like that. So I think it's a long road, but
Yeah.
it's I'll get there one day.
I can understand it, mate. I really can. I'm someone. If you were to ask me, I would consider myself fortunate with the mental health I've got, but I've gone through 2 bouts of therapy.
Yeah.
It's spells where I knew I could feel myself spiraling, so I went out early and went, right, come on, let's talk this out. And I
Yeah.
know that talk therapy is always better for me than any other types of therapy. So I've gone out of my way to address it when I feel those signs, because you know, don't you? There's triggers things, and I
Mm,
can't imagine what a panic attack is like on a
mm,
plane when you think you're coming into land. I
yeah.
can't imagine, mate. That must have been
Do,
savage.
do you know what it is, right? And it's the overwhelming feeling of, and you have to literally, it's like a boxing match in your head. It's like your panic is one. So you got Tyson Fury who's the panic, and then the calmness is, Usyk or something. They're fighting each other in, and you have to just breathe, and
Mm,
you have to like, with me, something that helps is I put my earphones in and I listen to rain sounds.
yeah.
I know it sounds absolutely bonkers, but
No, it
that's what
doesn't. It
helps
doesn't.
me. But I didn't have a full blown one. And luckily I haven't had a really full blown one for years. Like, they've been the lead up to them, and I've managed to overcome them.
Yeah.
But it's horrible. It's the worst. You feel like you're having a heart attack. Like, and especially one of the things that used to trigger me, and I've suffered with a bad left shoulder because I dislocated when I was younger. So every time I used to work out badly or wrongly, probably ego lifting too much, and my shoulder used to be like frozen. It used to feel like, and then that used to come down to my chest. That used to come down to my arm because it just I'd done something to the muscle. But in your head, as a person that suffers from anxiety and health anxiety, this doesn't say bad shoulder. This says to me heart attack or something along them lines.
Yeah,
So
of course.
they are the things that you need to say to yourself is, I've got a bad shoulder. I've got a bad shoulder. You need to keep saying that to yourself. And if you're around people, it's fine. You don't even think about it. If you're on your own, that's when it starts to you start to overanalyze it and think about it. And that is why the beauty of Amazon, the beauty of Amazon compared to what I used to be like in my previous job, which was I was a salesman, that was not good for my health.
No.
I used to be, I need to hit next week's targets. I need to hit next month's targets. It used to make me fucking ill, Des. And I think Amazon has like saved my life a little bit, with the having my own business. It's sort of, it's made me 100 times better than I was, but I still have it. I still have these underlying issues that I'm working on a daily basis, but that's fine. Like, I'm big enough. Well, I'm only 5'6", but I'm big enough. I'm ugly enough. I'll admit what I've got wrong, and I'm not ashamed of it. I'm actually proud of who I am and what I have, because
Damn
that
right.
makes me me. And being around people that, my loved ones and my friends, and trying to limit my alcohol consumption as well. That's one thing.
Yeah.
To once a month. They're the things that are going to make me progress. Maybe I want to get back into some sort of sport. These are the things that are going to help me mentally. And if you're not right mentally, this business is not going to work out, because your mind is going to be consumed by your inner thoughts, and you're not going to have enough time to think about your business. So ultimately, it's going to fail. So you need to work on that. If you have mental health issues, you have panic attack disorders, you need to get that to a stage before even thinking about starting your own business.
Well, this is important because this was going to be my next question. Hang on, let me say that again. This is important. That was going to be my next question anyway, is how do you find sanctuary in Amazon to almost protect you from yourself? But I just want to highlight here as well. preach so much about having the right mindset when it comes to Amazon. The fact that you've done what you've done, despite having those battles regularly, mate, you're right. It's not something you've talked about. It's not something anyone knows about you. You've still done it, Luke, and that is fucking amazing, mate. And you should be applauded for that. And it's not something that I'm not just saying this to make you feel better, but it's genuinely true. Mental health issues is the biggest killer of men. It's as simple as that. And you're right. It's not spoken about enough. It's not normalized enough. And a podcast sounds like a brilliant idea just to get awareness out there and let people know, yeah, we all struggle. There's expectations on us as men in society that is entirely disproportionate in many ways. And then we're also to blame for many of the problems in society as well. It's a conundrum. But you have kicked on and you are somebody that people look up to. And we're talking tens of thousands of people, mate, look up to you because of your success. Now, throw in those challenges you've had. That's remarkable, mate. And I think that should be applauded. So with that in mind, let's not blow smoke up your ass anymore.
A lot of people look down into me because I am 5'6", but that's a great analogy there. Thanks.
Yeah. So how do you then channel your energy into Amazon in a positive way that protects you and grows your business at the same time?
I think processes are really good. I think my personality and who I am, I have to have a process for everything. Like, as in, our business is like seamless. Everyone knows what they're doing and dedicate tasks to people. I think that really occupies because I'm such a process man. There's a process for everything. And I think I occupy my time now. And what I love is I put a lot of my energy into the scale of the business now. So I don't run the day to day. I don't have anything to do with what they're purchasing or especially the OA stuff.
Yeah.
I just let them get on with it because I trust them. But with me, I'm sort of planning for next year already. I'm putting all the processes in place and then I'm going to be training the staff again. That's what I like to do. That really occupies my mind because I can work on that for a long period of time. And it sort of, I forget about everything else when I'm in them modes. So I like progression. I like scalability. That's where I am best. I'm not the most amazing sourcer in the world. I hate purchasing. I hate admin. Ugh. I'm not good at them things, but I'm good at seeing processes. I'm good at seeing where we can scale new opportunities. And big thing is capital, working on how I can get more capital. And how I can progress my business. That's where I'm doing, and that's where I'm spending a lot of my time is when I'm a 7-figure seller, how can we become an 8-figure business? How long will it take me to get to an 8-figure business? How can we put things in place? What do we need to do? What strategies do we need to do to get to that next stage? You're not going to get to 8 figures doing RA and OA. You're going to be able to get there, brand deals, private label, unique bundles, more security on your listings. If I'm going to be in it, there's not many 8-figure sellers. Everything that they sell, they've got near enough a brand deal or they've got brand distribution. They go direct. They don't buy from Harrison's or Hancock's. They go direct to brands. So that's what we need to do next year. I need to perfect my my script to go to brands. I need to go from 10 unique bundles in the States to 100. That's how I'm going to go to middle 7 figures the following year, if you know what I mean. So we should hit 7 figures by March to March. Then if I want to do 3x that, what have I got to do? And that's where I occupy a lot of my time. If you look at my spreadsheets, if you look at my Google Drive, if someone sane looked at it, they'd be like, what the fuck is that? But I know what I'm doing. And I document everything for my VAs. I must do their heads in because every single process I'm doing a video. They've got a backlog, not a backlog, but they've got stored videos of me doing everything single step. Then if I get a new VA in, I'll go, here's the folder. go and do what you got to do for a week, come back and I'll give you one-to-one training, that sort of thing. That's where I occupy retraining, progressing, scaling, and capital. That's where I occupy 99% of my time, well, 90% of my time. And then the rest is for trying to grow my social media presence and stuff like that, and ultimately helping people.
Yeah. No, that's great. Really inspiring stuff, mate. So let's go on to your socials then.
Yeah.
You've built up, probably, of everyone that I've spoken to, you would have had the biggest following. Yeah, you would have done. When I first came on board and I started doing my posts, the algorithm kicked in and they started throwing out loads of yours.
Yeah.
And what instantly grabbed me about you, mate, is your level of engagement, the generosity and the knowledge you were giving. You gave I'll never forget, you gave a presentation on reverse sourcing using Funko. And you told everyone, get into the weeds, go onto the second and the third page of Google. If you want to find a supplier, look in the crap. And that flicked a switch in my brain as well. So talk us through the concept of you starting a TikTok and why you did it and what sort of path you took.
I think it's something I always wanted to do, but I never really had anything to talk about. I love comedy. I love humor. I never really was confident enough to go down that route. So as soon as I had something to talk about, I wanted to do a TikTok because I could see the opportunity for growth is a lot easier. Not a lot easier, but yeah, it is sort of a lot easier on TikTok. To get that traction. Instagram, it's for fucking people that have got Lamborghinis and they've got that Instagram life. That's not what I got, you know. I don't want that anyway. I don't want to take a photo of me, you know, wherever it is. I'm not that kind of person. So TikTok was perfect for me. I started on YouTube.
Did
But YouTube's so hard to get into. And I think TikTok, I think for me and you, I think TikTok is the one personally. I think we resonate with people because we don't want to be doing. I know we got the same video editor, Jazz, who's amazing, by the way. And but she doesn't hardly edit our videos as much. You know, she doesn't like. That's what I want. I want them to be raw. Yeah, I want them to have captions because I got a Welsh accent and not many people can understand me. But I want them to be raw and I want them to be educational and I want them to have my humor in them. That's what I want. Ultimately I want to help as many people as I can. And that's like you. And I remember seeing you when you was like 2000 and I was like 25. And then you done one video and you were like, bang, you was gone. I was like, Jesus Christ. He was like, and hundreds of but I think with what we're doing, and I don't know if you agree, you start to get stagnant at a certain point. Like I probably only progress 500 a month now. So you get to the level of the ceiling, and that's why I want to try and go down. Because what's more important to me in my life, I love Amazon, but the mental health side is a lot more important to me. That's the one thing I'm actually 100% passionate about. So I'm going to divert into that. But ultimately, anything that I wanted to do, I need to give value first. I need to be credible. I need to be giving out before, you know, I do anything. And I just think what an opportunity it is to change other people's lives for free as well. You know, giving value to people and the amount of messages I get, and it's the same as you. I only started Amazon because of you. Thank you so much. And they are the true happiness, I feel. Helping other people, changing other people's lives from doing a video. You know, I had a message the other day. I've just hit 6 figures. I only started Amazon because of you. That's just, what the fuck? That's amazing. You know?
What a feeling.
It's like, that's better than any amount of money that I'm going to make on Amazon. Like, for me, it's with the knowledge that I've got, and I'm not being big-headed here, I'm just being realistic. For me, it's only a matter of time before I have a 7-figure business, an 8-figure business. The only thing that's stopping me, and the only reason why I haven't got there yet, is because I've been hampered with, I haven't been able to get a credit card. my credit. So if anyone's watching this, make sure your credit's good before you start Amazon, because you won't get a credit card. I've had to slowly progress my businesses and live in between my means. I've only just started recently having more capital, so I can progress a lot more. It's only a matter
Mate,
of
why do you
time
think I'm
before
still living in this pony kitchen with the pony loft? I'm exactly the same. I can't get anything. My
no,
first dividend that I take out probably next year would just be to pay that off and then slowly build my rating back up.
exactly. So it's difficult, and you see all these people, and this is why I never ever judge my own success with other people's. But you see, so it does get to you sometimes. At the start, it used to get to me when I used to see these 20-year-old kids who I think are so inspiring, by the way, some of them.
Yeah.
You know, but they are just coming out, and credit card, they don't look at the age, they look at your credit score, and that's it. So a 19-year-old with who still lives with their mother is more likely to get a credit card rather than someone who's over 30 and has had a mortgage for 8 years. You know what I mean? They don't look at stuff like that. So I think it's easier for someone to scale and progress an Amazon business if they're younger, because they can get credit cards.
Oh, absolutely, mate. And they've got less dependency. I mean, when I was in my 20s, I got the credit cards and I got the student loans and I pissed it up the wall. The ones that are 20-year-old and they got all of that credit and they decide to invest it, that's amazing. That's amazing. And you're right. I've got so much respect for those 20-year-olds, boys and girls that made it. I've got so much respect. Just please stop bullshitting on TikTok. Please just stop doing that.
Stop thinking you're fucking your what's the word? Your shit's chocolate. Is that the phrase? You know what I mean? Just be a little bit. You're not this big I am, you know. I just can't stand creators that just talk about themselves all the time. This isn't all about you. This is about helping other people. And you know, I just see so many of them. They're just there giving no real value. So,
No.
and then they wonder why they're still on 6,000 followers or 3,000 followers, because you're not giving real value to people. You're
Exactly,
not
mate.
thinking
Exactly,
about,
mate.
you should think about other people. You should be trying to help as many people get started, not just talk about your own success. Now, that is inspiring to some people. But for me, if I look at going into something, I am looking for someone who I connect with and who is giving more value than the person that's just driving around in a. These drop shippers, oh, they do my head in. They're there in their rented Lamborghinis in Dubai. They're on holiday for a week, taking photos. Oh yeah, I can make. They're not making any money anymore.
Take a picture of me, mum. Take a picture of
Yeah,
me.
yeah. And then they're like, security, security. Do you know what I mean? It's like, do you know what? I think I'm at the stage now that I am going to start calling people out on their videos, as in if I see people bullshit, it's like, I've never seen Carl Pilkington, Idiot Broad, bullshit man. You know, you'll fly into somewhere and you'll say, I'm going to start doing that. I'll put the gif of Carl Pilkington saying bullshit on their thing. But
Jamie that was on the show a couple of weeks ago, Grandpa Arbitrage. That's his thing now.
Guy,
he's calling them out, and I love it. It's amazing.
He is. I couldn't remember his name the other day, and I called him Grandpa.
You called him Grandpa.
No, that's a really good podcast, Jamie and Tara. That was a really good podcast. I really enjoyed that.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, both really lovely people. How could you not relate to those? Really nice.
No,
but it goes back to the same thing. You're right. I mean, look, I talked about it on my on the podcast that went out today, the Ask Me Anyone thing.
Yeah.
Go back to my first post and I talk about creating a community of online money maker newbies. What I want to do with mine is bring people up alongside me. And now, mate, exactly like you, I'm getting people saying, I'm started because of you. And they've already gone past me because they've got better cash flow and they've got better access to capital.
Yeah.
But they've all gone past me. I hit my first 6 figures this month. Oh, did you?
Jesus Christ.
I've got another year to get there. But
ask him to lend you some money.
But I love it, mate. It's a really nice thing. And you're right. I think that's why people are coming along with us, because we genuinely want them to do well. Yeah. And we understand that it's these people that will show loyalty to us as we then branch out and build our brand. it's one of those. I get it all the time. Can I still be a success and not have a TikTok? Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah.
But if you have a TikTok, what you're doing is you're boosting your chances of success because you're putting multiple income streams in place,
Yeah.
as well as granting yourself opportunities to better your Amazon learning. If it wasn't for my TikTok, mate, I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't
Yeah.
have had this podcast. I wouldn't have met Natalie. I wouldn't have met these people. And it's
Yeah.
all because of TikTok. So I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, I think you have to have a social presence, and it's great what you've done. I'm not blowing smoke up your arse, but you seen the foresight, and it's something that I wish I done. Is I had a your community. How many's in your Facebook now?
Over 6,000 now.
Well, you've got, if you ever wanted to bring out a software, if you ever wanted to bring out any sort of service, I know you do your mentoring, you've got people that you've helped in a Facebook group, and they're more likely to turn into customers or turn into mentees and things like that. So you've done it the correct way, 100%. Like I've got my Discord and it's like 300 odd people in there.
Yeah.
But I wish I'd done the Facebook thing as well, 100%. Yeah, really, it's a unique opportunity, especially now with this new creator program on TikTok.
Yeah.
You can earn some serious money doing that just by giving informational videos. Like if you do, I think it's 1,000 views is £1. But if you
Yeah.
get any, you've got a 900,000 one, you get 900 quid for that video now,
Ridiculous.
just for doing videos. And that's why I think I want to be a little bit more consistent now. I want to do unedited videos. I want to do a video, get Jazz to post it 3 times a day and start giving out more information. And then when you start giving out more information, you get more traction. And then you get accepted to the program and you're earning money from doing something that you ultimately love. What a
Yeah.
unique opportunity. And I think people think, oh, TikTok, it's not, you can't earn money. Now you can. You can earn
No, you
more
can't.
money than YouTube. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
where my main focus is 100% TikTok. And just put out the best content that I can and try and help people overcome mental health, overcome panic attacks, and help them with their Amazon business, getting them started with their Amazon business, because ultimately I think it's the best startup business out there. The
Yeah.
low risk startup business that teaches you the ways of business. If you've never done a business before, this is the one for you to get started. Now, ultimately, it might not work out, but this is what started it for you. And then you could open up, I don't know, your own barbers or something, but
Yeah.
you've understood and you've learned all the processes of an actual business and in charge of staff, processes, that sort of thing. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah, completely agree, mate. The guy I am now compared to the guy I was a year ago, ridiculous.
Mm.
Ridiculous. The things I've learned about myself, and I've never done anything like this before. But you're right. It's something you can start up with very little money. You can get rewarded within 2 months and you know whether this works or not. And then you can kick on. And it's it's a life changer. Mate, I think we can close it there, to be honest with you. We've done what we've done. We've done over an hour and we've covered nearly everything. But I think what would be ideal, Luke, we'll definitely have you back in about 6 months, mate, and we'll see how you're getting on.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
That sounds amazing.
It's been an absolute pleasure, mate. And to be honest, it was nice to actually open up about things that I've never I spoke about before on a podcast. So it's sort of given me a release as well. So I thank you for that.
Mate, honestly, to say it's my pleasure doesn't do it justice. The fact that you've chosen this show to share it, it
Yeah,
means the world, mate. And yeah, we got your back, whatever you need.
thanks, buddy. Cheers, mate. Thank
No
you.
worries, mate. All right. That's part 2. That's the end of the Luke Colwell interview. I can't say enough good things about Luke. The fact that he is overcoming this adversity and he's doing it from a place where he has gone through that and succeeded in his path to being an entrepreneur. And if he stopped today, the things that he's got in place already churn him over a very, very, very respectable amount of money. But that's not what drives Luke. He kicks on regardless, and he will be a massive success as long as he wants to be. And that's the beauty of this game. And it's the goal that I'm aiming for. Luke is in utter control of his own life, of his own finances, of his own time, of his own path. As it stands at the moment, I'm still not there. I am striving towards it, but I'm still very much a part of a 9 to 5 PAYE machine. But that's something to aspire to. And that leads us to the tip of the week.
Tip of the week.
When you're getting going in this game, because hopefully my little speech last week pulled a rocket up your ass. If you're getting going this week, now's a good time to start writing down what it is you're good at, what it is you like doing, what it is you're not good at. What are the potential weaknesses that could sabotage the whole thing? Because you need to look at yourself objectively, because if you don't grow and you paper over the cracks of whatever weaknesses you've got, they will surprise you and they could pull the rug out from under your feet. So make sure you're fully aware of everything that is coming your way, both good and bad, both physically and emotionally, and start writing down a strategy on how you can combat the bad things to emphasize the good things. That will do. Tip of the week. Right, that will do it for this week, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for keeping on coming back. Thanks for keeping on pushing the 5-star button, giving a review, leaving a comment. Please keep telling your friends. We want to get this train going, don't we? I know we've hit big success, but we're still only about 10, 11 weeks in, and we want to take this podcast to the moon. So do all of the things that will help us get there, please, because it's a community effort, and I'm so grateful that you're coming along this journey with me. All right, let's bring the music in, let's bring voiceover in, let's bring in the cool little drums. I'll see you on the other side. Take care. See you later.
Be sure to join us next time for another dose of inspiration and insights into e-commerce and entrepreneurship. And who knows, by then Des may well have finished that love project. And always remember, it's time to say goodbye poor, hello rich. This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as financial advice. We know times are tough right now, and if you are struggling financially, please seek help from an appropriate organisation. We've included a link to the Citizens Advice Bureau in the show notes. Remember, you should always consult with a qualified professional before making any significant financial decisions.